Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/goldenboot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Oh, I guess if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it right. I gotta bring us up, don't it? Hey, welcome back to another episode of HBCU Hour. It's your boy Pooh Bow. Got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good, my boy?
What's happening, bro? You doing all right?
I'm all right, man. I ain't did this in a minute. We just did it last night.
I know, man. You know,
Came in this
be
thing
like
rusty.
that sometimes. Be like that sometimes, man.
Came in
One
this
of them
thing
days.
rusty. Came in here rushing. That's what I should say. Came in here rushing. Listen.
You ain't from Russia?
Shout out to young Willie Mays Hayes. Got me screaming amongst
But did he get a win though? That's the question.
they came back. They were down 15-10, two outs in the last inning and scored 6 runs. Walked it off.
Okay, then.
I was-
Impressive.
Hey, it's bad to say this. He got another home run, right? But he was next up to bat if they didn't score that last, I was nervous. I was nervous. I was like, please win this before he have to bat. Not because I don't think he can do it. But
just in case he didn't. I'm with you.
I wasn't prepared for
The
I wasn't in
aftermath.
daddy hug me mode. I wasn't prepared for that. But man, let me go ahead and do this, man. Let me give a shout out, man, to our sponsor, man. Shout out to Bet Online. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all basketball info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds, news, and info for everything March Madness and NBA this year. From the Final Four to the NBA playoffs, BetOnline is your sports information headquarters this season. If you love sports info, scores, news, and podcasts, you can find everything at BetOnline. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website. That is betonline.ag today. Use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You got Dave in this thing. Say he first. Good evening. What's good, Dave? Hey,
What up, my boy?
he was math tonight, Dave. He was on it. That boy still don't know what stop means.
That boy said he going full go.
Full go. Somebody walked up to me and said, if you that fast, there ain't no need to stop. So, what's good, Josh? Hey, literally how I said it. Literally how I said it. You that fast, ain't no need to stop. They was reading to stop. But we have a special guest should be joining us shortly. But man, let's go ahead and talk, man. We ain't had been able to talk about a lot of stuff has transpired. We were able to talk. Some Southern did get a new basketball coach. We talked about that a little bit. The scuttlebutt. When I talked to J Max and G the other night, J Max was saying that because we talked about Carlos Sample. He said that the rumor is that he is supposed to be joining the staff. He said with Carlos Sample on the staff and with the new coach, he said, man, Southern might be dangerous, real dangerous next year.
I know recruiting wise they should get a little bump up.
Yeah. We talked about the we talked about the we talked about staying home, getting some of those players to stay home from the Baton Rouge area and stuff. Get some of those guys to come back. It's kind of the same thing LSU's doing. But yeah, if they were saying that it's a kid, I forget where the kid's from. He's from Baton Rouge. I forget what school. But they were saying that if they can get him, man, say they might be dangerous. So trying to think, man, we got some more stuff that's going on. Tuskegee.
Speaking of basketball coaches.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of basketball coaches, a few schools officially announced their hires. I know North Carolina A&T men officially announced their new coach, and Grambling women basketball coach was officially announced, I believe, on Tuesday. So, speaking of basketball hires, there's some official announcements that have been made since we last spoke.
Yeah. North Carolina A&T did make their coach announcement. I talked with Dave a little bit about that. Dave said that because the AD spoke, he gave it was last Monday. It was Monday actually. He was saying that the AD said that basically they will hire an HBCU. No, they said they will hire a coach. You didn't have to be an HBCU grad, but that is preferred because then there's somebody who'll come in who knows at least the workings of a HBCU. So
yeah,
I'm trying to find these names because I don't want to mess it up. Tuskegee coach, women's basketball coach, Miss Trelane Powell. Well, former Tuskegee coach. She actually just accepted a job at UNO. Moving on to the privateer. So congratulations to her, man. She did an excellent job with the team, not just this year, but excellent job. And she is moving on.
Yeah, I hate to see it, but I guess you could consider that a step up. I guess technically.
I mean, you move from D2 to D1, but I mean, yeah. All right, what's
in the future?
Yeah, Grambling's
Courtney Simmons.
Yeah, they had a press, like you said, had a press conference introduce her. But yeah, Courtney Simmons is the new women's basketball coach at Grambling. I'm trying to think, we're missing somebody else. Grambling, North Carolina A&T, Southern, Tuskegee coach left. I think that's it. That might be it on the basketball front. But I do want to say, let me pull it up first. Fisk Gymnastics. Trying to find it. Get the names correct.
About the gymnast.
The gymnast.
I know one for sure.
Yeah, I definitely know one for sure. But boom, boom, boom. Here it is. Fisk University gymnast, Morgan Price, Liberty Mora, and Zaya Coleman all earned first team All-American gymnast honors. Man, shout out to them, man, because this was the first year for HBCU having gymnastics. They came in, they did the job, they got the honors, and hey, HBCU women lead the way.
Definitely. And hopefully we'll see some more of that to come since we'll have more programs joining them in the competition ranks.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Asia, friend of the show, Coach Asia Sims, Asia Sims Fletcher, over there at Talladega. They got their first 2 recruits, man.
That's what's up. I see she hit the ground hard recruiting, and hopefully she pulls in some All-Americans over there for her as well.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Trying to see if I find their names because they went international with their recruiting.
Oh, really?
They went international.
So using them connections. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it was they got a what is it, incoming student? It was a Kirsten Johnson. She became the first commit, and then Jamila Duffus. I don't want to say it's spelled it's Duffus. I don't want to say Doofus because that's what it looked like, but I'm gonna say Duffus. But she's from Kingston, Jamaica. I know. Yeah, they're gonna kill me for that attempted patois. But yeah, man, they went international with it, man. So shout out to Fist, you know what I'm saying, taking them steps.
While we on the non-traditional sports,
let's go.
Shout out to Grambling and Texas Southern.
Bingo, there we go.
For both winning cheerleading national championships. Grambling won the co-ed national championship. First HBCU to ever win that championship. And Texas Southern, not sure exactly which division that they won in, but I know they were also the first HBCU to win that respective division as well. So salute to them, man.
Yes, sir. Boom, boom, boom. Chuck, what's good, Chuck? Chuck coming in with the facts. Earl Hilton is the athletic director. Yeah, he's correct at A&T. And he said Courtney Simmons, alumnus of Louisville.
BR native.
Yes, sir. But we got a guest in the building, man. We ain't gonna hold him long. We can talk a little bit more football, man. We've been talking football, spring football, and want to bring him up, man, because he been doing some traveling. He been hitting them the road, going all these different places, but he went home first. So let's bring him in. Host of the SIAC Talk, Mr. D2 HBCU football himself. Welcome to the HBCU Hour, man. How you doing this evening?
Man, what's up, man? Appreciate y'all for it's good to be here.
Yeah. I see you got my boy in the background, Mr. Aaron James.
I got to have him. Tuskegee legend, new head coach, you know.
Yes, sir.
Expecting good things.
Pritchard, Alabama, stand up.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Coach James. But man, how you been, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. How about you all?
Good to be here, brother. Good to be here. Appreciate you for joining us, man.
No problem.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make sure I say Clark-Atlanta because them folks was after you. They was all on you for not saying the Atlanta part of Clark-Atlanta.
Yeah. And I normally don't push back on that, but because of the page, as far as my regular work is history, so I actually have a lot of respect for Clark-Atlanta and the merger. So when he came at me like that, it was more so me saying, hey, this is a football jargon page. I mean, no disrespect to Clark because I'm one of the few people who actually I meant, were you at the spring game? You know, like it was like things like, hey, I'm not your enemy. I'm your enemy one time a year.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Before we get, start talking about the spring games that, the Tuskegee spring game and Clark spring game. I'm gonna ask you this. I know you was up for, you was debating Alabama State or Edward Waters. Have you decided which one you're gonna hit?
I'm probably gonna go to Miles. And this
that's what it was. Yeah. Miles or Edward Waters. My bad.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go to Miles, and it's mainly because it's probably gonna be one of the more spring actually going to be tuned in. Yes, I've gone to Tuskegee spring game and I've gone to the Clark, but they weren't, especially the Tuskegee. It wasn't really like this advertised. All these events around him. There was also like a scare of the weather, so it wasn't really advertised. If you knew, you knew. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. As far as like Miles, they have some events up planned around this spring game. I'm just going there. Every spring game I've been to, I'm going there for one specific reason, and that's O-line play across the country. I don't care what anybody else is doing. Every game I've gone to, I'm looking for O-line play. I'm looking at kneecaps. I'm looking
looking at the ankles, son.
That's
boy
all I
got
care
ankles. About. He can't do nothing. That boy, get him out of there. Get him out of there. Yeah, D4 recruit. Look at them ankles. Nah, about it. I get what you're saying.
But what the offensive line been looking like so far? That you've seen.
As far as Tuskegee, it's just going to be growth and development of those players. You see in the SIAC this real big contrast. So you look at teams like Benedict, who really hit the portal really hard last season and got those grad transfers in. And everybody else pretty much had, younger offensive line. I think Tuskegee, we only lose one off the offensive line. He was a hometown guy. So just seeing those guys take the next step, see if they cut out all those bad steps, all those, the choppy feet, just see if we grow and develop. Now, the jury is still out on whether I see development or not, but, hey, offensive line, they're usually like, the last group to jail. So we just have to see.
Yeah.
So I know you said all you was looking at was O-line play. How did Tuskegee run their spring practice? Because I know a lot of people are doing it, in different ways. Was it kind of a first team versus ones versus ones, or was it ones versus twos, or was it more just like situational?
So originally I thought it was going to be the ones versus the twos, but they kind of mixed in, like they threw in some 7-on-7. So it was more like a practice for ski than anything, if you ask me, even though they did advertise that the defense won, the red team won. And it was like 6-8, something like that. For the most part, it's a lot of competition in a lot of spots. Tuskegee last year had that influx of players coming with former head coach, now AD Ruffin, with him from Miles. I think we had 6 or 7 transfers in. Just to see those guys now fully, in that Tuskegee culture, seeing the guys that were already there, and just seeing the competition. That's what I appreciated most about the spring practice or spring game, whatever you want to call it. What's the level of competition, especially at quarterback? I think we have the best quarterback in the conference, bar none. I know the people at Fort Valley will argue me. They have a great quarterback at Fort Valley, but I'm talking about we have 3 guys that I'm comfortable with pulling the trigger any game for us. So I think that we are really blessed in the quarterback position.
How is the transition going to be? I know Coach James is, like you mentioned earlier when we started, Tuskegee legend, but how is the transition going to be from Coach Ruffin to Coach James? Well, how do you see it going? I'll say that.
For me, like I would say, like it's going rather smoothly because he was on the staff last year. One of the things that I thought, and my way is not always the right way. I would have loved to see him. I know he was, in the press box last season. Kind of wanted to see, how he interacted on the sideline or whatever. But clearly, the guys love him. He's bringing back that that younger feel that Tuskegee was missing. That we kind of got away from with Slater, bring back the old Tuskegee intensity. So I'm looking forward to it. We didn't have a lot of guys hopping, in the portal to go, so we retained a lot. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, definitely, especially this day and age.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Let me ask this. This is the third head coach in 3 years. We understand the transition from Ruffin to, Coach James. So it's not necessarily the traditional, they just getting, coach after coach after coach. But how is the team? And this may be kind of the same question, but a little bit different. How is the team reacting, I guess you say, to a younger head coach?
It was like one of those things that the players instantly bought into Coach Ruffin coming back, which was something that I was a bit concerned about at first, knowing that the rivalry between Tuskegee and Miles has kind of taken off to be one of the best rivalries in Division II football. And it's a heated rivalry, it's just something that
it's a championship rivalry.
Yeah, like when I was at Tuskegee, who was Miles? It was like there was nobody was studying Miles. We didn't even see Miles as a rivalry, but now you ask, Tuskegee students today, who's your rival? They're gonna say Miles. So then to mix that many players from Miles coming over, and that was one of the things that Coach Ruffin was really honest about. Could he get those guys to mesh? And so you see probably about the fourth game of the season, things start to turn around for us, because if you looked at that first game with Fort Valley last season, you would think we were probably on our way to an 0-10 season easily.
Yeah, I remember that. The first game is that one gonna be in Montgomery too?
Yeah, this is it was a 3-year contract with that Fort Valley.
Got you at the Crampton Bowl, which I let me say, when I was in high school and we played the Crampton Bowl, that was one of the worst fields I had ever been to. But they
worse
really
than Legion?
Way worse.
Legion, I guess Legion, the field ain't bad. Legion, the stadium,
the field was terrible. It was like, because it was like,
it's one of them uneven fields.
It was a field you literally. So I don't know if it used to be a baseball field or what, because it's like they had like dugout for the bench, and you'll be sitting in, and the field will just arch over, and you couldn't see the other side. It was terrible. But they went and put full remodeling. It's real nice. They played 2 bowl games there, several other, not necessarily classics, but kind of neutral site games there. So it's really
that Crampton Bowl was the magical stadium that I would argue helped put people who were not paying attention to North Carolina A&T on when they came down and beat Jacksonville State that year in Crampton Bowl. And so it kind of has like that magical allure that kind of happens. Of course, Tuskegee used to dominate Bama State in Crampton Bowl. We used to dominate them in their own house, but hopefully we get back to those ways.
They Tuskegee, I think the first 2 years when Alabama State built their new stadium.
Yeah, we went in there, gave them their first L and housewarming gift. They'll never live that down, as long as it's out there. They will never live it down. They can win from now until the day I die. I don't care. We beat you to your first game in your new stadium.
So normally, I know y'all always play or find a way to play Alabama State pretty much almost every year. Whether it was the Turkey Day Classic, now the Labor Day Classic. Y'all got A&M.
Now we're back in the Turkey Day Classic.
Back in the Turkey Day. But y'all got A&M this year for A&M homecoming. It was a little spicy last night with A&M folks. So I ain't gonna start no stuff with A&M folks tonight. Listen, I'm not starting nothing with them A&M folks. I live up here with y'all.
Don't even say that coach name. Don't even say his name.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? I love y'all Bulldogs. I'm just saying like that because I gotta live with them. Y'all know. But that's gotta be exciting, So even though, granted, I know they schedule y'all for homecoming, but that's still gotta be exciting. So,
well, it wasn't the last time before last we played A&M. We played them at home. That was 14, 15, one of those years. A&M came to Tuskegee. And it's like one of those games. Once we get in Turkey Day Classic, we're no longer in the runs for the playoffs. It doesn't allow us to go to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I'm always saying, if we get back into a Turkey Day Classic, then bring back our old rivalries. Like if we were committed to the D2 playoffs, I would say, hey, no, I don't want to see an A&M. I don't want to see, because I want us to be in the best position for the D2 playoffs. But since we're back in Bama State, hey, put them on the schedule. There shouldn't be a year that Tuskegee and A&M do not play. The attendance shows that, that we should play. It's something that the fans want to see it. So I think if they do it right, that's going to be a big time, money maker. We don't mind playing A&M for homecoming. It is what it is. They can catch the smoke just like Bama State catch the smoke. Now we do have I will say we do have a harder time with A&M, but hey, they struggled to beat us when they did have a Kia Glass, so I don't have any concerns about them this year. But I will say this, I think what Tuskegee's like 0-4 against Maynard when he was at Winston-Salem. He beat us twice, and then he has beaten us at A&M in Mobile the last season before last, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah. So you mentioned now that y'all renewed the Turkey Day, that y'all aren't eligible for the D2 playoffs. Which would you rather prefer? Would you rather playing in the playoffs, or do you like the Turkey Day?
Well, I mean, our AD has hinted about us possibly wanting to go D1. We've already had an exploratory committee that was commissioned at one time before, although they have ceased. So there's a groundswell of people who would like to see us move up. One of those things is that most of our rivals have already moved up, and have been up for quite some time. So you start talking about brand expansion, what could moving up do for us. So I like, if we're not gonna stick around D2, let's go ahead and get our feet wet, continue to play and dominate the SWAC as we have in the past, as a D2. So I already know we're gonna do when we go D1.
Talk that out, boy.
But yeah, I like it because I do like certain games. Certain games just it breeds something. There's something special about HBCU football, and the culture of it. And if it takes us missing out on the D2 playoffs, because really, after a while, we lose interest. But however,
and money.
Yeah, unlike some people though, I do have a thing where I don't want us to run from. I want us to go because we want to go. And just so happen, if y'all do end up on our schedule, y'all getting the smoke too. You look at Tuskegee, Albany State have been like the only two teams in the SIC that really has some success in the playoffs outside of Central State back when they were in I forgot the conference they came from. They made a run in the playoffs one year, but it's just one of those things where I don't want it to be said that we're ducking the playoffs. If we line them up, we should be able to beat them. Like we had West Alabama on the schedule this year. We were beat them. We've beaten North Alabama, these Division II perennial powers. And I just want to see the conference as a whole, that if you decide to do the playoffs, do what it takes, win. No way a dominant Benedict, the way they dominated the conference, should have gone and gotten dominated by a Wingate the way that they did.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something. I gotta be a little petty real quick.
Okay.
You already know what I'm finna say. When y'all gonna get some likes?
We don't need them. We don't need them. There's an exchange when Miles was good. They had one of the best media pages out there, and Miles was known for smoke. So like, there's this back and forth where he was like, "Oh, y'all should get some likes," and I'm like, "Well, those likes didn't help y'all win no football games because y'all still got losing records with those likes. So maybe y'all should cut the likes off."
Well, let me say this. Now, it's a requirement for you to join the SWAC. that you gotta have lights. So before you start talking about coming and whooping up on the swag, and I ain't saying you're wrong, y'all might do, but just get some lights before you start worrying about whooping up on the swag.
Now I will say this about
at least whoop them in the lights. You know what I mean? At least let them see the whooping.
Now I will say this about the sweat. So I'm for moving up the division. I'm not sure if I'm up for moving up and trying to be a part of the sweat. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But the lights issue, I meant the AD Coach Ruffin, AD Ruffin has hinted to a couple of things with lights. The shed at night would be crazy. I will say that. And so if it's unveiled the right way, man, that's something. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be real high energy. So whenever that day comes, man.
Can you imagine ball and parlay under some LED lights? Hey, I'm talking. I can see it now.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Boom, 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 and the lights. You know what I'm saying?
With
boom,
the beat.
Boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
boy.
What? All right, listen, we're gonna have to get off here because I'm finna jump through somebody.
Hey, I'm finna go ahead and finish my application if that happens.
I told myself, hey, you got to go down the rabbit hole.
Hey,
if you YouTube, ball and parlay.
Yeah, I was oblivious to ball and parlay a few months ago, and Pooh told me I gotta go check it out. I watched about 16 videos on YouTube. And I had pulled up an application. I was halfway done, through applying to go to Tuskegee so I could experience that as a student. You know what I mean? But at nighttime, I could only imagine after a full day of tailgating. You know what I mean? And you get that, man.
Yeah, and what's crazy? Prior to ball and parlay really taking off, there was a chant that was equal. Of course, like everybody didn't have a cell phone like they are now. But it was a get it all song that used to go off just as hard as ball and parlay used to go off. Goes off now. So, it's definitely a culture. Tuskegee is one of those places where teams they hate to come. They're really rude. Back in the day, they used to throw the chicken bones at the visiting team. Like it's hostile down there, dog. It's we from our chants, your mama's a man, all kinds of stuff goes down there, So hey, it's real down there, Ski,
It's crazy, because there is no visitor section. You either gonna sit on the home side, you know what I'm saying, and cheer your team on that's on the other side getting all the smoke from the student section under the shed. So
yeah, we'll put you in the corner. At least they don't do them like they did back in the day. They used to put the visiting band on the side over there by the shed. Like early 90s, you would see the visiting band on the other side of the shed. So it was like, no, we got to move them folks from over there because it's not happening. So yeah, Tuskegee is just it's a wonderful place. So wherever we go, if we do go D1, I think that it's a different. We would just add to the culture, some people say some schools would maybe weigh the SWAC culture down, but I think Tuskegee would be an asset just because of the football culture that we have.
Yeah.
Man, listen, I could talk ski with you and hear about them all night, but let's talk about Clark a little bit. Clark-Atlanta, for those of you.
All right.
For those of you who are,
I was listening. That was Pooh Bell who said that. Don't include any of them.
I said no, but so Clark, you know what I'm saying? How did they look as far as I know you said O-line play. Let's start there. How did they look?
Clark, Atlanta. They are work in progress. This is a team. I think they've had I think they've had one season over 500 in the last 20 years. So this is just a historically bad team. Now that they have Coach Slater there, we're going to see if Coach Slater can build. I've read certain people write and say, can he turn Clark around, how he turned Tuskegee around? I just want to make sure the record is set that Tuskegee wasn't a rebuild program when he got there. So he just continued the success and not taking anything away from what he did at Tuskegee, because he definitely took Tuskegee to some new heights. However, it just wasn't a rebuild program. You look at Jakari Atkinson, Kevin Huff; those guys were already there when he arrived. So him going to Clark, I felt like that was a little bit different. One of the things that I feel like they needed to address, they are small. They're just small, and they got pushed around a lot, last year. But they got a running back coming back. They got a wide receiver coming back. They have a really good linebacker in Xavier that he's back. So I was looking just to see, hey, what do they look like? I didn't know what to expect from them. I think they're going to hit the portal hard to fix a few of the issues that they just need fixed right now. But overall, they'll be decent if they just get some interior defensive linemen. They need that bad. I mean, they got a guy that he has heart, but when you start talking about the Benedicts of the conference, yeah, that size is just going to doom you in, and that's what happened to them last season. The teams who were not the best up front defensively, they competed well. They competed well against Allen, competed well against Tuskegee. I mean, it took us to 3 overtimes. One of them. I was just glad we got out of there with a win. But they if they fix that, I don't know what to say about their pass blocking right now, and that's just overall for the conference. Will they get better? So last season you saw like a lot of true freshmen starting, and I think that you might see that again this, for a lot of positions that they just need people. So hopefully those issues are addressed. But other than that, their QB play. Whew, okay. Yeah, they had to transfer from Fort Valley. And I think it's still up in the air, man. I think they're still trying to find that guy. Whether one of those guys step up, they just got to put in the work. There's a lot of passes that they're going to need to make if they want to be competitive, in the conference going forward.
Yeah.
So with you going and watching O-line play, naturally, O-line is going against D-line. How have the D-lines looked so far in both Tuskegee and Clark?
Gotta say Atlanta.
Yeah, Clark.
Surprisingly to me, outside of just Clark's being small on the interior, their defense seems to be going to be an anchor for their team this year, which is surprising. I was shocked to even see them that way, to see their defensive backs to play the way that they played. Of course, that could mean one or two things. Either Clark's offense is really bad, or their defense is going to be, so it's like 50-50 on what that is. You know what I'm saying? So for Tuskegee, we're really athletic. We were just so young last year. I mean, when I say we were really young, especially up front. I would have liked to see us add, a few edge rushers. God, we needed some. Like you go back and look at our film, man. We could bring a blitz. I don't care. We blitzed the whole team. We wouldn't get nothing. I mean, so just seeing those guys grow. I think we have a good linebacker core that's coming back. We got burnt over the top quite a bit last season, so I think we addressed that. We're still small. I was talking to I was on HBCU Nightly talking about how small our DBs are, just the conference as a whole. But Clark doesn't have that. Clark is actually, they have larger DBs, so I think that would be a benefit for them, and especially the scheme that they run.
So I know you said you're going to Miles this weekend. I mean, you can only go to one. It's like 17 different schools having a spring game this weekend. So
20.
I know there's 20 total. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. But so what do you? I know you said offensive line play, but what else are you looking for whenever you go to Miles this weekend? And what do you expect from them, coming up this season?
I have no clue what to expect from Miles. What I do know is that Miles was not a 1-9 team. The record was 1-9. They were not a 1-9 team. They were one of the few defenses that could keep Benedict under control. They were able to keep Albany State under control. I think Benedict only had one offensive touchdown against Miles, and with that explosive offense, the defense for Miles was amazing. This is the same defense that kept Bama State scoreless for the whole second half. They just struggle on the offensive side of the ball. They lost so much. And they just couldn't find their guy, their QB. So I was really expecting when they signed, I expected them to have, 3 or 4 guys, QBs that they signed. Not a QB in sight on the they were not a QB in sight. So I'm just going to see, like, hey, what y'all doing over here? Maybe they got a secret weapon that they had hidden somewhere, but it's just out in the open. I think they lost did they lose their wide receiver coach? I think he's at FAMU now. So it's a lot of shuffling around. That's one thing about being those position coaches in the SIAC. A lot of those guys, they get opportunities because the pay, just be honest, the Division II position coach pay is not much. They can go teach high school, and coach and make double that. So much respect to those position coaches that stick it out at those institutions and do a good job. So just much respect for that, because the pay is not what it should be for the type of jobs that they're doing. But just, Miles is filling out, in this new era, their post-Ruffin era, to see what the offense looks like. I expect it to be totally new, totally revamped, because they were going back to, I think they played like 6 or 7 different QBs last season. And none of those guys, I mean, you're going to look at the numbers, I don't think any of those guys had like over a 40-some%. I think one guy had 55. But all the rest of the guys were 48, 43, So they struggled to move the ball, but their defense kept them competitive.
Yeah. So I know you're probably going to say Tuskegee, but right now, who you got winning the conference?
I think the conference is either Fort Valley's or Tuskegee's to lose. I know a lot of people will say that Benedict can repeat. It's not that I don't think Benedict has the pieces to repeat. What we saw last year with the dominance on the offensive line for Benedict, it was like one of those things that magically happened. It's hard to get all those transfers in and they miss the way that they did. Now, if Coach Beard, and I'm not saying that Coach Beard can't do it again, because I mean that man can sell you anything if you listen to him talk. It's something about the South and those preachers with that. I mean, those guys who were kind of like those preacher mannerisms to them. So if anybody can get the job done, I would say that it would be Coach Beard. But I think with what Fort Valley has coming back, that they're in a good position. The schedule, some people argue, favors Benedict to repeat, but I think Benedict runs into a brick wall that second game. I mean, they have Edward Waters, and everything that I'm hearing out of Edward Waters just makes me like, why are we playing them for homecoming? But anyway, so it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Is it me? I think we lost.
Yeah. Okay.
I was.
Can you hear me?
I was wondering. Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was trying to see if that was
I was wondering when he was gonna mention Benedict whenever I was talking about winning the conference.
Yeah.
I
was asking. So Morehouse Central State. Yeah, I was trying to look and see. You got Morehouse and Central State on the 22nd. That was gonna be my next question to him. And Kentucky State. Yeah. So I know he mentioned he was having some issues earlier, so hopefully we can get him back.
This weekend you got Allen, Edward Waters, Lane, Miles, Savannah State.
Yeah, literally there are 20 or more. There you go. All right.
Yeah, my bad. My laptop died, and I thought it was.
It's all good. It's all good, brother.
It's been one of them type of days.
Yeah, we understand. Hey, trust me, we been there.
My next question was gonna be, if you weren't going to Miles this weekend, where were you gonna be?
I would probably would have made the trip to Jacksonville to see Edward Waters, just to talk, surrounding. It's very rare that players hit me up this early in the season, but they've been hitting me up. They've been telling me like something special brewing, and I tend to listen to players, not so much what they say, but their actions. If everybody's working privately, a lot of the guys that I follow and I see them putting in that work, they seem to want to win for Coach Morgan. And I think you should take that into consideration when people talk about them. So, they were real feisty like last season. They weren't pushovers. They wanted to address a few issues. So when the Bethune-Cookman fiasco happened, they feasted on a couple of guys that I feel like will really come in and help them. They recruited heavily. They're in Florida, you know what I'm saying? Like they're there. There's a lot of talent there. So
right by Georgia too.
Yeah. They had a transfer. Oh man, why don't I remember my guy's name? They got the transfer from Alcorn that they feel really, comfortable with him at that QB position. I've heard a lot of talk about him and just the way they do things. Like they have great coaches down. They have coaches who have a history of winning. They have Brian Jenkins on the staff down there. Like they have coaches that know how to win at Edward Waters. So it's just I always say it's just a matter of time. Like, is this the year? We'll see.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question because you just mentioned you said the fiasco at Bethune. What happened? I'm just playing. Don't answer that. I'm messing with you.
I am not swag, so I stay out of swag.
But nah, let me ask this. Next weekend in SIAC, you've got Central State, Kentucky State, Morehouse spring games. Are you planning on attending one of those, or are you just gonna take a weekend off? Or
no, I'm going to go to the Morehouse game. A couple of guys will be around that also host the SIAC Talk with me. So hopefully, we get to meet up and watch Morehouse. As far as Central State and Kentucky State, Central State, yeah, they're there. They have a quarterback in Brandon Cowles. It's just, can they bring their defense? Like their defense would show up one weekend and should not show up next weekend. With Kentucky State, who knows? New coach, new system. They have been this ground and pound team for the last 7-8 years. They have a guy that comes in that says, all right, we're going to throw the ball. So I know they're going to go through their personnel lumps. They had a couple of guys hit the portal. One actually just got offered by Norfolk State. I was wondering why a lot of their defensive guys were sitting there in the portal, because if you go back and look at Kentucky State was, if you knew like their struggle, how they competed on the field in spite of their struggle, I would have took my chances with any of those guys because they grinded it out and they were just one game away. Had they beaten Tuskegee, they would have been in the championship game.
Man, I think you've at least most of my questions. I think you answered them all. I'm trying to think what else.
You want to go to the CIAC? Like what you got? I know you mainly do SIAC, but you know you missed the
CIAA.
B2 HBC. Yeah, let's go to C. What did I say? CIAC. I'm tripping.
Yeah,
But it's
CIAA.
CIAA. It's one of them days, like you said, bro. But who you think looking at that conference? You ain't got to break it down team by team or nothing like that. But like, who you think is gonna be somebody that's gonna probably be one of the powers, and who you think is gonna kind of struggle over there?
With that CIAA, man, it is I never can get a pulse on what they can do. I mean, for a couple of years, Bowie State was like the standard. Then you have Virginia State. But just looking at recruiting, because I looked at Benedict and how they were recruiting against the Virginia States, because they kind of recruit in different areas. Benedict won a lot of those recruiting battles, but Virginia State, I think with Frazier there, that that they're rebuilding, and that they're gonna have some success. I saw a couple of guys Shaw picked up that I think will add. We get a Shaw versus Benedict right off the bat, so that'll be interesting. Really interesting, actually. I guess I don't want Winston-Salem people to jump on my back, but I think that they're probably still gonna find themselves at the bottom, and I don't mind. Out of the CIAA, I do not like Winston-Salem for a plethora of different reasons, so I don't mind. So Stephen Gaither, those guys, and we owe them a real butt whooping. And coming up real soon, so I hope to see them. But that conference, it is what it is. It's normally, 1 or 2 teams. So I think Virginia Union is probably poised to come back. I know, like, somebody was even shooting around that maybe Phoenix would end up at Union, and I said, "Whoa, wait now, hold up, pump the brakes now. No, I don't want to see that."
That would be kind of scary, bro.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's not necessarily where I would want him to go. Now, if it's opposed, because Wingate offered him.
Yeah.
If it's Wingate or Union, of course, no Union. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, bro. But I think Union will be back good. I don't think Bowie State is gonna stay down for long. I think they'll be, right back. I think it was just a little transition for them this year, but I like their coach, so we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about the football team. I'm finna say I don't know nothing about the football team, but if social media is anything to do with it, Bluefield State got something to say. Coming into the CIAA, they social media, like they pages. I clicked. I was like, man, this is dope. I was like, okay, this got a top notch. But nah, I know Bluefield State going there. I don't know how they're gonna fit in, or how it's gonna look over there.
The interesting thing about Bluefield State is they played a couple of SIAC teams to kind of, like, one thing about them, they do not stray away from trying to see where they measured up.
Mm-hmm.
They will not be the bottom of the CIAA. I can tell you that now. I mean, they came in and they beat Central State in SIAC. I mean, they whooped up on them. Now they didn't. They got beat down by Fort Valley, but Fort Valley was arguably the second best team in the SIAC last year. And I've been telling people that had we not had the division this year, the championship game would have featured Benedict and Fort Valley. We had a format that we have now. So Fort Valley's second best team, so they handle their business against Bluefield State pretty handedly. But as far as like them coming in and just being the bottom, no, I think they're middle to upper pack easily.
Yeah.
Man, before I want to say, I truly appreciate you coming on with us, chopping it up. To do what you do, because first of all, when we started covering HBCU and started talking HBCU, even just doing SWAC, like the entire conference, it was a task. Then we started talking more SWAC and MEAC. And I was like, okay, that's a task. And we trying to get information on SIAC, CIAA, it is hard. So to do what you do, man, I completely applaud. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Applaud what you do, and definitely appreciate it.
Definitely a resource that I use. whenever during the season, whenever for like scores and just kind of breakdowns of this and that and all that, it's hard. Like he said, it's hard to find on D2 football. Man, I go straight to Twitter. D2, I'm typing. I'm going straight to the page, bro. So I appreciate what you do, my brother, because it helps us. It helps people like us, stay up to date on what's going on, bro. So salute to you, brother.
I appreciate y'all, and yeah, like the resource thing, no SIDs with the conference. Like we struggle to keep SIDs. There's probably 4 or 5 schools right now that don't have SIDs. So it's like the information is you have to just go there, and luckily, I try to keep a good, pretty steady relationship with the different coaches. It's always changing.
Right.
So I just tell them, I pride myself in not putting anything out that's probably going to embarrass, them, just to keep those working relationships, to have, that kind of access to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, let me ask this, man. Tell the people where they can find you, man, so they can, get the same stuff we get. Information from them.
So on Twitter, you can follow me, D2 HBCU Football. We do a Twitter space coming back. It's going to be every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Twitter. You can follow me on TikTok, Skiggy Historian, Instagram, Skiggy Historian, where basically I talk about history, and I do a lot of HBCU football history on both the pages. And man, just once again, just appreciate y'all for having me to highlight and talk about SIAC football.
Hey, don't worry, man. I ain't gonna say open seat, but you definitely welcome to come back to the house, man. Come eat with us and chill with us.
And we ain't even touch on that part, but next time you come, the historian part, we're gonna touch on that too, because that's so dope, bro. I learned so much from that.
I got you, no problem, man. And enjoy my time up here with you guys.
All right. Before you go, this ain't football related. It's not SIAC, but I do want to talk about this real quick before we get up out of here. And Texas Southern against Kansas in baseball.
Oh, yeah, they got robbed, cuz.
For those of y'all who didn't see, Texas Southern was down 11-7 to Kansas. Bases loaded. Gentleman comes up to bat for Texas Southern and hits what looks like a home run.
A grand slam.
A grand slam. It looked so much like a grand slam that the third baseman dropped to, bent over with his head hung because he knew it was a wrap. Referees came back, or the umpires, and said foul ball.
No, well, first, the left fielder was like foul ball. So the third base umpire looked at the left fielder, was like, "Oh, he say foul ball, foul ball."
Yeah, they reviewed it and said they could not determine. It could not be overturned. It was
what make it worse is, if I'm not mistaken, they had already scored like 4 runs that inning or something along them kind of some to make the comeback. Had the bases loaded. They hit what looked like a tying grand slam in the 9th inning at that. And to have the game basically, I ain't gonna say stolen, but kind of taken away from them in a sense.
Stolen.
All right, stolen.
They was robbed.
We'll go there then. They was had a game stolen from you because the people in blue feel like you don't deserve to win, I guess.
Yeah, man. And that happens. It's so common in every sport. In every sport, we have those opportunities, and it hurts even harder because to get in those positions to compete.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like to put kids who choose HBCUs, like they put so much on the line to compete, and when you get the opportunity against the impossible odds that are stacked against you, to have it ripped away, that's hurtful, and it's really something that has to be
addressed and called out, when things like that happens, because it is unfair. I know people say, well, people lose all the time, and one call doesn't affect the game. Yes, it does. I've seen one call impact a lot of games, whether it's the momentum, which a lot of times can't be measured, but whether it impacts momentum, whether it impacts like the mindset of the game. Like there's a lot of things that a call can do, and that's really unfortunate. I'm gonna have to go off and go look at that when I get off here to see that.
And what's crazy is the umpires getting called out by not just HBCU people. They getting called out by like college baseball, publications and pages and things like that. Because it's one thing to lose, whenever you lost on your own accord. You know what I mean? You lost because you didn't measure up against the other team that day. They was just a better team. But for you to put yourself in position to give yourself a chance to win, and nothing that you did caused you to lose that opportunity, that's wrong, dog.
It's just like the other calls.
And that's a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these kids, man.
Right.
They're not gonna get the chance to go to a Power 5 or a bigger institution like Kansas and have opportunity to play on that field at that level. You know what I mean? And have that opportunity again. You just took that one shot to say, yeah, we took down a big school, a power school, whatever you want to call them. We took down a power program, and you just took that chance.
Yeah, and that's so unfortunate. It's like even though other call didn't determine the game, it was I forgot who was playing. It might be like
Mississippi Valley State versus
UNO.
Yeah,
dude
I
just
was
wanted to
thinking
get
the
home.
same thing.
Dude just wanted to get home, cuz.
Yeah, just ready to go. It's there. I mean, I've seen our former baseball coach when we go and play, those power Division II schools, just get bad calls, and he's like, you know what, I'm getting thrown out because my guys need to see that I'm fighting for them. They kick out because sometimes some of those calls are so. And I understand, like refereeing, officiating is, it's difficult. And a lot of times they I don't think they approach it trying to make bad calls. But it's like some of those calls, y'all got to come on, man. You don't impact.
And I, as a person who was raised by a referee, my granddad was a referee for like 40 years. I will say, like, most of the time they get it right. You know what I mean? Like 95, 90, whatever, it's a high 90%. They get it right. But it's the times where they get it wrong that stick in your head like this. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't want to make it seem like I'm just bashing referees. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's a difficult job. I could do it. So, I want to give them credit when they're right. It's just whenever you are wrong, it can have such a big effect like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, last story, and we can get ready to get up out of here. Fastest 100 meters in America belongs to a HBCU student athlete. Florida Memorial University sprinter Saminu Abdul Rashid ran at the 2023 Hurricane Alumni Invitational. He ran a 100-meter dash in 10.04 seconds. That is the fastest time in both NAIA and NCAA.
Yeah.
And that's sixth overall in the world.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Olympic times, dog.
Yeah. Moving.
Yeah. So
yeah.
There's fast. And then
he got a ticket for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
Buddy don't even call Uber. He just run to his spot. He gonna be
shout out to him. Shout out to that program.
It's funny because every time I see Florida Memorial, I say FAMU. That's the first thing pop in my head. And it's FAMU. But not Florida Memorial University. Shout out Florida. You keep watch out because they also are the only HBCU with the beach volleyball team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a program I think is on the rise. Not just in football, but multiple sports.
Very much so. But again, man, D2, we appreciate you coming on.
Sir, definitely, brother.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Sam in the chat chimed in and said, great show tonight. Hopefully we get the word out more and pack it out here next time. Appreciate you, Sam. We're definitely gonna keep doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? The people gonna show up. You know what I'm saying? If you build it, they will come.
Hey, you know what you gotta play. Don't even, you know what you gotta
I'm trying to find it because you know when we switch, what's called it?
I know you didn't, dog.
I got it. I got it.
I know you didn't.
I got it somewhere here. I'm trying to find it. So when I find it, hold on, give me a second. Gotta get the people what they want.
You got to, bro.
Gotta get the people what they want.
It's only right, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We'll be back on Monday, same time. Well, no, not the same. Is it the same time Monday?
No, yeah, it will be the same time Monday.
Yeah, same time Monday, 9 o'clock, right back here. Breaking down all 8,000 of the spring games that happening this weekend. And a little bit more, whatever, you know, all your latest and greatest for HBCU sports will be here, man. Appreciate y'all in the chat for tuning in.
We got it. I got the blank one. I think I got the blank one. But if not, man, we'll at least play a little bit of for
it's all good, man.
We'll play a little bit of for my man.
Yeah, Sonny was great now.
I want to thank Bet Online for presenting this show. We'll be back again. Like that, we are out.